Chloe, we heard from Sean Diddy Combs in his own words in a letter, a powerful letter that he wrote to the judge. But today he was tearful, emotional, addressing the judge, addressing his family. Tell us what he said.
Laura, that's right. So he spoke briefly to the judge, and I'm just going to look at my notes. He said that he was sobbing, and he said that he has lost respect for himself. He lost the respect of his family. He lost his businesses, and he said multiple times, I am begging for your mercy. He called his actions shameful and sick. He said he wants to be a father again, and he told the judge that if you give me this opportunity, I will never lay my hands on anybody else ever again. I will do right by my family, and I will do right by the community. This is not about making money. I want to be a functioning member of society. He talked about being sober for the first time in years. The judge also just saying moments ago, because the judge is speaking right now and addressing Combs and the entire courtroom, and he said that I do take into account the fact that you have inspired many people. He talks about the fact that he says, I know that you are a self-made artist that have inspired and lifted up communities worldwide, and the impact in entrepreneurship that you've had is iconic. And he talks about the murder of Sean Combs' father. That's something that Combs, as his legal team, brought up multiple times, that he had a very rough upbringing, and it all began when his father was murdered when he was very young, this rough upbringing, which later led to PTSD. But Combs just breaking down, crying also when 6 of his 7 children spoke today, Laura, in court. They cried, begging for their father to come home, the judge thanking them for their courage. And again, his 84-year-old mother also sitting in the courtroom today. She was there nearly every single day of his 2-month criminal trial over the summer. And Combs, you know, we know that he had sent, Laura, that 3.5-page letter to the judge via his attorneys last night. And we weren't sure if he was going to end up speaking today, because as the day went on, he was not giving his allocution. But then it was the very last moment before the judge spoke. And again, the judge is explaining to him, look, you are being sentenced for the Mann Act. Those are the 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. You are not being sentenced when it comes to sex trafficking, when it comes to racketeering, which he was acquitted on. But you know, Laura, something that we've talked about, you and I, is that the judge can take into consideration Combs' history of violence. He can take into consideration the testimony of Jane, of Cassie Ventura, of Mia, right? Even though he was acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering, the judge can take all of this into consideration when deciding his sentence. And remember, Combs faces up to 20 years in prison, 10 years mandatory maximum on each count. And the judge had kind of showed his cards perhaps earlier today, saying that he did agree with the probation department's guidelines of 5 to 7 years, Laura.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.